Right, TikTok. All right, TikTok. How you guys doing? This is about reparations. Now, I don't mind having guests on, but I would love to have guests on who do not agree with me. That's what I want. I want people who don't agree with me because I want people to really let me know how they feel about reparations. Like, give me a second. Let me just share this out real quick, and we're gonna get into the live. Don't worry, we're gonna get right into the live. All right, guys. All right, guys. So we're here. We're having a discussion about reparations, guys. I need you guys to like the stream. I need you guys to share it out. Share it out with everybody that you know. I want to have a conversation about it. So Terrence Johnson 63 says, "Do you say reparations? I'm here for it. Absolutely. But I want to have a discussion. I want people who don't agree with it to let me know why you don't agree with it. I want to know why because I've broken it down to three things. One, you just don't want to get it for various reasons, be it that you're racist, be it that you don't like black folks, be it that you just don't like reparations. Two, and again, the first reason could not be actually nefarious. It could be perfectly honest. Isabella Ballo 61 says, yo, what up? How you doing? Elizabeth? All right. So basically, when we get into the argument, the first reason is usually because somebody just doesn't want us to get it. It could be for various reasons. It doesn't have to necessarily be racism, right? Second reason is that they know someone or they are someone who would not qualify under the given parameters. Now, what I mean by the given parameters, we'll get into that a little bit later. Third reason is that they believe that they are going to have to pay for something that they did not engage in. Now, all three of those reasons are illogical given what's happening across the world right now. But we're going to get into every one of those reasons and break them down. The reason why they're all bad arguments. So, first reason, people they just don't want us to get it. That's fine. First reason for people saying that they don't want us to get reparations is that they don't want us just don't want us to get it because they don't want to pay for it and they don't think that we deserve it. It can basically they want to argue that no one deserves to be paid for anything that happened in the past, and that's a very interesting position because we're still honoring treaties that we're paying billions of dollars for that were made in the past that I had no part in. And yet, when you talk to many of those same people about Ukraine, suddenly these people, they go back on their principles. And that is very unfortunate because I'm not going to allow you to do that. Now, second reason is a little bit less nefarious, I would say. The first reason doesn't have to be nefarious, but it usually is. Second reason is who would qualify. You have people out there who say things like, well, I know someone who's Haitian. I know someone who's from Honduras. I know someone who's from this country and that country. How come they don't get to get reparations? And I have to explain to those people in painstaking detail that they never qualified in the first place. Now, that does not mean that I don't support the African diaspora. I absolutely do. However, why is it that when it comes to black folks, especially black folks who are foundational black Americans in the US, why is it that when it comes to us, right, we are expected to do things that other communities don't? You could not go to a Native American tribe right now and tell them, "Hey, I know that you're Cherokee, right? But take in these Creek Indians. They will cuss you out, and rightfully so." If you went over to Japan right now and says, I know that you're Japanese, but you're also Asian, so you're the same as Chinese," they would cuss you out. If you went over to China, you told them, "Hey, I know that you're Chinese, but because the Thai are also Asian, you're Thai now," they would cuss you out. If you went over to Mexico right now, and I got somebody whose mother is actually a Mexican, who will tell you in painstaking detail, baby, If you go over there and you call everybody a Spaniard, they will cuss you out. Mm-hmm. So why is it that when you come to America and I say, excuse me, I'm a foundational black American, that does not mean that I'm denying that I'm black. That just means that we have a unique lineage here, a lineage here. We have a tribe here. Why is it that we cannot establish that? You will tell us in one breath, well, it's because you're all African. You're all African. Well, if you go over to Africa, they have tribes. So if we were over in Africa right now and we decided to establish a tribe, would you say shit about it? Without calling yourself a racist, because you would be then. So why do so many people find it appropriate to do that to us here in America? Why is that? We want our own thing. We want our own lives. We want our own identity. Anyone. That's it. I don't want to reject anyone. I realize that people are black. I got a mirror. I got eyes too. They both function. Okay? But I also realized that when the Japanese got reparations, wouldn't nobody fussing at them to share it with the Chinese. So my thing is, everybody wants the whole, why can't we be the human race? The human race is only inclusion when it comes to us. Because again, we can't have our own identity. We have to be included with everybody. You want to know why that is? You want to know why that is? It is a way of enveloping us and then ignoring us. Like, for example, notice throughout from the year 2000 to 2022, we had a bunch of bills, right? Anti-Asian hate crime bills. You had anti-LGBT bills, anti-Hispanic hate bills. You had a bunch of, and when white kids got offended in picking class, what happened? They banned CRT. So you had a bunch of tangibles, a bunch of bills passed for everybody else, right?
So I believe the Black people are the most hated race on the planet.
Yep.
And when you're the most hated race on the planet, of course you're not going to get any reparations. And I think I look at the Black people that are in Ukraine right now, and they trying to escape the same war that the Ukrainians are trying to escape, and they not letting these Black people, Africans, out of these countries, out of this country. It's a disgrace. But it goes to show, no matter where you are on this planet, the Black people are never ever treated with our lives as being valuable. And that's a sad reality that I've accepted. It's a sad reality that our lives are not valuable to these people.
Nope.
Right? And it's terrible. And it's because we are closest to, I'm not a religious person, but I really believe when my mom was super religious, we are closest to God. We are literally the closest to God. Fundamentally, we are. But they can't
That's why
handle
we're
that.
the most
And that's
religious. That's
why
why
we
you
are
you
hated.
if you go into the black community, we are the most religious, like overall, even more so than like the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not a religious person anymore. I grew up in a cult, so my shit's a little different. Um, Religion is crazy. I mean, how I grew up in a Jehovah Witness scenario, so that's a whole nother level of crazy religion.
Well, the other thing that I've noticed, and this is something that I want to ask you. Have you noticed that whenever it comes to black folks, especially black people in the United States, that whenever we say we want this or we want to claim this, right? Then then it's suddenly all lives matter, right? Have you noticed this?
Oh yeah, because again, you Black person, you don't matter. You We don't want to hear from you. Keep your Black ass in the corner. That's the whole premise. Not just here. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. It's not just here in America. This shit is worldwide. This around the globe. Think of what they did in South
That
Africa. The white people had the nerve to fucking come and root our people out our own goddamn country and
that's
take the
crazy.
fuck over. Like
That's crazy.
it's the craziest scenario, like I said, but it's we literally are the most hated race on the fucking planet. And it's sad that people don't want to acknowledge that that is the case.
So
The
Best Life
minute
wants to
you
get in here. So hold on. So Best Life, let me go and tell you. I'm gonna let you in here. We're gonna have a conversation. Now I'm gonna let you talk, but when I'm talking, don't just keep talking over me. When you make a
oh, I
claim,
can jump out so you guys can have a good
no,
conversation.
no, 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 no. You have space. I have another slot in here, but I'm gonna try my
Okay.
best. I'm gonna let him speak. Okay. How you doing, buddy?
Hello.
How you doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm
Hello.
doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Hi, how
So
are you doing? Rainy? Is that how you pronounce your name? I'm sorry if I said it wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You said something about reparations, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. Do you know that reparations were given during the Tuskegee syphilis experiment and taken back because they thought that they were stupid because they were dying, and they ended up actually getting reparations back for what they took back from them in 1993. The government had to pay those last living survivor and their family members of the ones that did not survive $319 million. What happened between the Tuskegee syphilis experiment between 1932 and 1972? They had 319 sharecroppers. To
No,
my
no.
understanding, from what I was taught, sharecroppers were free slave hands that didn't know anything except for how to grow food and how to survive. Correct?
Okay. I'm
Okay.
just trying to see
And
what
then
we're getting at here.
they had NASA and the government come in their white jackets as white saviors and say that they were going to promise them free health care forever, that they were going to live forever. All they had to do was trust them. And not knowing, just like the movie Miss Evers Boys, which was very sad, it was so horrible. They
Hmm.
infected 319 sharecroppers. With
So
those
where are we going with this?
319 sharecroppers, they each had their 40 acres and a mule. When they started
Listen,
infecting them with
can I stop
syphilis,
you real quick? Stop you real quick.
unknowingly, while they
You're
were
hitting us
dying, they
with a
took
lot
it
of
all
stuff.
back.
You're hitting us with like a lot of stuff, right? So let's go back a little bit. You're saying reparations were already paid to black people?
Okay. Yes.
You're wrong, ma'am.
During the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. Yes.
Ma'am, you're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Ma'am,
No,
I
I'm
never
not.
received a single dime, neither did
No,
my
I'm
family.
not. It
All
doesn't
right.
have to do with. Were you part of the
So
Tuskegee
hold,
experiment?
hold on. So when you make claims
Yeah,
like this,
exactly.
we're gonna go look them up, okay? So I need you to be quiet for a second, okay? You
It's
made a
not a
claim,
claim.
ma'am. You made a
Oh,
claim.
a claim. Okay. Yeah.
Claim.
Mm-hmm.
Then what we're gonna do,
Oh, a claim. Okay.
it's a claim. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. True or false, it's still a claim, right? Like for example, when
Okay.
you make
So the Tuskegee
an
experiment was a
insurance
claim
claim,
too.
ma'am, you made a claim, right?
Hmm.
And I'm gonna look it up. You say that
So
black
was
people
it
already
not a
receive
claim?
reparations, right?
They were
And I
given
don't find that.
reparations.
What are you gonna say then?
What do you mean? I'm not going to say that because it's
Just
true.
asking,
Because we weren't taught that. You had it. I was older when I learned that,
ma'am.
but it's true. What?
Ma'am, I'm gonna look it up right now. So if you're saying that
All right.
we were taught that, did black people,
We
did
weren't
black
taught that.
Americans
I was older when I found out.
receive
I
reparations?
found out on my
I'm gonna
own.
look it up. I don't see a single reference for black people receiving reparations. I'm seeing the reasons why we deserve it, but I don't see any reference to that. So
Oh
do you
my
have a
God.
specific year in
Google
which it
isn't
was
a good
given?
reference. Google's not a good searching tool. They're not going to tell you the truth. They fact check everything.
Okay. Do you have a specific year in which you're talking about?
Do you not know about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment?
Ma'am, I asked you the question. I don't know anything about this. That's why I'm asking you the
I'm
question.
answering the question. Do you not know what years the
Ma'am,
Tuskegee syphilis experiment happened?
ma'am, ma'am. When were the reparations paid?
Dude, you so damn.
Okay, question, right? And I asked simple question. I said, when were they paid? When were they paid? See, I guarantee you, if you go and you look into this lady, I guarantee you, what you're gonna find is that she's not as honest as what she tried to present herself to be as. Because what I was gonna do, I'm gonna show you.
Well, she's gish galloping.
Gish galloping. Because I just looked it up. Did Black Americans receive reparations?
The Tuskegee syphilis experiment happened in 1932 to 1972.
Yeah.
So you're like almost 100 years off of fucking slavery.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
And
what's your point?
What I asked a specific question. I said, ma'am, have Black people received reparations? And she said, yeah.
No.
That's first of all, right? The Tuskegee experiments, Black folks were never compensated for the freaking Tuskegee experiments. Because first of all, those were Black GIs, right? Black GIs. When in the hell have you ever seen the U.S. government, right, pay the Black GIs anything fast?
Or even any GI, for that matter.
Are you serious? I am a Black combat veteran rated at 100%. That's the highest compensation that you can go. I can tell you, you won't even get your damn teeth fixed at the goddamn VA.
Nope. And then they'll deny you your painkillers after they pull your tooth.
Baby, hold on, wait, baby. You went with me to the VA, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a Black veteran rated at 100%, correct?
Yeah.
You saw the quality of healthcare that I got, right?
Yeah.
How in the hell do you think Black people from the freaking Tuskegee experiments were paid anything?
No.
Based on what you saw?
No. Nice try, but no. Quit while you're behind.
And she is not right. Listen, don't make stock accounts, okay? If you don't have more than 1,000 followers, I don't want to hear your keyboard warriors nonsense, okay? That was not true. That's not true. And Johnny Mouse BLM, 40 acres and a mule could not be converted to what it's worth would be today. Yes, that is very true. That is very true. But I'll take cash. I don't want y'all. I don't want your land. I don't want your freaking tax-free status. I don't want your reservations. I want cash. Right now, cash. That's all I want. Cash. Cash. You want to know why? Because I like to ban y'all from the stream anyways. You want to know why?
Even if that happened, it has nothing to do with what he's talking about. Stick to the point.
Right. So, brown girl in a bus. What's going on?
What's up, brother?
What's going on?
I had to come up for this. I wasn't gonna say that I was gonna tap your screen all night.
Mm-hmm.
But she literally came up and she proved a point of something that happened to me this week. I have to tell you that on the side. I'm not gonna take your platform right now. But she literally came up and demonstrated what they have been doing with history, putting out false narratives that Black people have been given all these things that we have never been given to try to make it okay for everything that's been done. You know, it's like, that's just like what she just said just now. It's just like them teaching them in the South that slavery wasn't too bad, that we were giving them jobs because they were unemployed in Africa and the tribes. Oh, they needed jobs. So we brought them over here and made them slaves, and they were happy to be slaves because they had work. Get out of here, dude. Get up out of here, lady.
Wait. So even if I believed her story, right, and I freaking don't, because some Tuskegee Airmen and their families rejected reparations, they speak for the entire Black community here?
Come on now.
Are you out of your goddamn mind?
You lost your mind. And then I knew she was. This was something that was told to her. And you know, it may have been taught to her to feel better about her privilege. You know, oh, we gave them something. This one sector of people that we gave, but then took the money back because they all died off. If they gave it to them and took it back, then they didn't give them nothing. Your point is irrelevant, lady. Go sit down. Nobody is giving reparations for all the atrocities that's been done to black people.
And then on top of that, right, the Tuskegee experiments, that does not cover the 60s and 70s. So even if you pay reparations then, we're still owed that just from the civil rights era. Have you met Dr. Luther King? Have you met Malcolm X? Did you see the Black Panther Party? So even if I took her argument seriously, it still fails.
I was mad at sharecroppers.
Listen. She said, listen, sharecroppers. She was suggesting that black people weren't slaves, that we were just sharecroppers.
Exactly.
She was saying that we were sharecroppers. Do y'all understand what she was saying? That's why I stopped her. I said, ma'am, where's this going?
Yeah. Sharecroppers.
Where's this going? And I'm gonna tell you,
do nothing else but farm. That's all those their brain capacity could do.
That is unbelievable, man.
I was
so my thing
side,
is,
but
I gotta ask you a question though. Why is it that it seems like whenever our group wants reparations for ourselves or benefits for ourselves, why is it that everybody wants to include everybody, right, who has nothing to do with it? Why is that?
There's an excuse for everything as it relates to black.
Right. And that's why I'm getting tired of this whole, coalition nonsense. I support every community. I absolutely do. But I realize also that not every community supports us. I realize
it does not. It does not.
I realize. And that includes many in the African diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want to have that conversation, right? Because if we have that conversation, then we're being divisive.
We're being divided. Yeah, that's what they would say.
Right. It's just amazing that and the other thing that I find interesting, right, is that people will always accuse you of what they're guilty of. So I'm having a conversation with someone that I thought was an ally, right? And I'm not going to mention, the organization or anything else. Just let's just say someone that I thought was an ally, a white ally. The person has a wife who is Haitian, right? We're having a conversation about reparations, and the person doesn't want to seem to admit that their opinions. This person is a white person. They don't want to admit that their opinions are linked to their wife, being black. They don't want to admit to that. So they're arguing with me, and I'm mentioning Native American, like the way that you don't tell Native Americans, that they can't have their own tribes or Japanese Americans. He says and then I bring up, I said, but people who try to argue against reparations, they bring up whataboutism. So this person says, well, you're bringing up a freaking whataboutism by bringing up Native Americans. That's called a fucking comparison. That's not a whataboutism. Right. That is literally a black person saying, I want to be treated just like other people. That's not a whataboutism. Right. That is the main complaint from the black community. The number one complaint. We always use, and you're black too, we always say that we like justice. We're just tired of it being just us.
Right.
Just us.
And I had a similar situation that happened up to the loser, bro. And went all white.
Okay, so right. Sorry about that. I'm back. But we yeah. So we are not saying that that we don't like justice. We're tired of it being just us. That's all we're saying, right?
Just us.
So the spirit behind what we're saying, right? The spirit behind it is we want to be treated and held to the same standard as everybody else. We don't care what the standard is, just so long as everybody plays by the same fucking rules.
It's That's so difficult for them to fathom, to the point that they're offended. I had a white ally this week, the other day, told me that she was offended by my black experience. She was offended that I was using my black experience of being a black woman in America share my experience is being a playing the victim.
Are you sure
Right.
that was an ally? That sounds like a
She
racist.
played she played
Yeah.
she played it for a
Listen,
long time, but that's how and mind you, she came to me for my story. You came to me for my
let me tell you
story.
something. Let me tell you
Go
something.
ahead.
I had the exact same experience.
Oh
Same
boy.
white ally, right? Same white ally. Same one. Same exact one. I bring up Tariq Nasheed, right? So Tariq Nasheed, he's a right winger who is not exactly a friend of the LGBT. Let's just go ahead and say, he's not. He says certain things that I don't agree
No.
with, of course,
Mhm.
but he says things about reparations and Foundation of Black Americans that I do agree with. So I went out of my way to state I don't agree with him because of the LGBT stance. Because brown girl on the bus, freaking Sir Devil. I mean, a lot of people who I'm friends with are part of the LGBT community. I love you all. I can't agree with this man. I
Yeah.
agree with some positions, but not others. So I said on TikTok, I will actually try to actually become a leader of an actual leftist FBA movement, right? Right? I actually said that, right? And so when I started arguing, right, about the whataboutism, this dude says, "Well, you agree with a homophobic capitalist?" Hello, are you there?
Looks like she got disconnected somehow.
She must have been disconnected. But
Maybe
the
she's coming
dude
again.
brings it up. I'm like, wait a minute. I went out of my way, right? I went out of my way to say that I don't want to be like Tariq. Now you're
Right,
bringing it
right.
up saying that I agree with the. See, they use the LGBT community as a fucking bludgeon. They did the fucking
Hmm.
Dave Chappelle. They did the fucking to Kevin Hart. Tried to do it to goddamn me. Do it to a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Even after I went, I went for over 5 minutes of typing, going to how I don't agree with Tariq Nasheed, bringing up other people who belong to this particular organization who are LGBT, bringing them up and saying they're some of the main reasons why I don't fucking agree. I've been saying this shit for damn weeks before this very day when this shit happened. Weeks before. So how is it fair that you bring up that I agree with a capitalist who is homophobic when I've gone out of my way for fucking weeks to differentiate myself between myself and that person? They use the LGBT community as a bludgeon. It's a freaking bludgeon. It's a
Yeah, I
way
hear you,
of
man.
silencing us.
I wanted to.
Because go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to.
Go
I
ahead.
wanted to see. Obviously, I, of course, 100% agree with you. About reparations, but I'm not sure if we are likely to get them. So I wanted to throw something at you. Let's
We
wanted
are.
to chat with
We
you
are.
about something.
We have a 15
I
year
wonder
time period.
what's that within a 13-year time period. You think that? Okay, well
15.
let me.
15.
Okay, okay, okay. Let me. I think our culture right now at this minute is more valuable. We the Black American culture, not the Black culture, not the Black American culture specifically, is the dominant culture in the world right now. I literally think it is. I seriously think it is. And I seriously think it has more value, like literal dollar amount, dollar signs value to it. I think it is being replicated and exported and taxed by somebody that don't look like either me or you, right?
Right.
Somebody's getting paid. You can go all up. You can go all up and down this app, and you hear people. I think walking like us, talking like us, trying to sound like us, right? All
Mm-hmm.
day, all night, from all different corners of the globe. Somehow, our culture is spreading like wildfire, and we don't
Right.
get paid from that. I
Right.
think it would be smart for us to try to figure out some way to put some kind of figure. We need some smart people way smarter than me, to figure out a culture tax.
Yeah,
Figure out
that'd
some
be
way.
interesting, but that'd be tough to pull off, even more so than cash payments. Because like that,
You think so?
you already know who's gonna be the main opponent of that, and that's gonna be white women. because they want to have them braids. They want to be real wiki. So we're not gonna win that battle right now. You're going up against white women, yo. I don't know if we're gonna win that battle.
Well, we're going
Because
up
white
against
women is the most powerful in the country, yo. Listen, a white woman cry, and that will get you killed, son.
white woman's tears.
So I'm telling you, like, I don't know if we can win that battle like right now, because too many of them are freaking pop, lock, and dropping, you know. Too many of them right now. I don't know if we can win that battle, brother. But I will
I'll
say
tell you what.
this. I will say this. It would be very interesting. One thing that we did discuss yesterday in a good little meeting is we we discussed trying to get more black people life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the reasons why is because if we started getting a bunch of black people life insurance and the police happen to, do something to the wrong black person, the black person happens to pass, well, those insurance companies have the best lawyers in the goddamn country.
Yep.
And
I heard about
if
that
too
too.
many of that happen,
Mm-hmm.
if that happens too often, because one of the main reasons why cops get away with this stuff, because we are one of the most uninsured people in the whole country, and
Absolutely.
we gotta
Facts.
we gotta change that. We gotta change that because insurance not only leaves something for your children that you may not have been able to provide them in your lifetime, but also it makes us a less appealing target for police because
That's
insurance companies
100%
they
true.
don't give a shit. They don't give a shit who you are. They will cover you so long as you pay them.
Right. Yep. No, they
Right?
absolutely will. And I think that is a fantastic idea. I think we do
Yeah.
for, like you said, for several reasons. Because it would create intergenerational wealth. Most importantly, it would
Mm-hmm.
probably slow down some of the police killings. But one of the things that I do think is important that we got to remember that the majority of our issues with police don't end in death, and the majority of our negative encounters with police don't end in death, and that's what we got to stop the nonsense altogether. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
Like I don't know. We got to stop the profiling. We got to stop. We got to get some real police reform in general. You know what? It can't, and like these no knock warrants and all of these laws, these castle doctrines, and all that stuff. Um, it's just there's just a lot that's stacked up against us that may not necessarily end in when I say all this nonsense, I'm talking about the nonsense somebody asked in the chat. What nonsense? I'm talking about basically the systemic racism that involves police dealing with black folks. And I'm saying my point is that we only hear oftentimes about it when it ends in a death, which obviously we should hear about that. But a lot of people can become dismissive because they say, okay, well, there was only 200 deaths. And I'm like, all right, but what about all the people that missed a job interview because they got pulled over and got messed with for no damn reason?
Yeah.
I'm saying that. I
Yeah.
mean, that
Yeah,
is not
that
okay.
that is a
That's
very
not
good point.
okay.
Right.
What all
That's because again, I think the main issue is that people tend to get tunnel vision when it comes to those kinds of cases. When it comes to police and particularly when it comes to black folks, it's very easy. Like the same way when it came to certain things that happened, the pandemic. Um, when it came to that, right? You had you had this tunnel vision where people couldn't see the amounts of deaths that we were having because
right.
they were so they they see us as a very very populated country, and so people couldn't actually fathom it, but it was happening, and it was happening in freaking large numbers. It wasn't was there exaggeration? Sure, but it was happening, right? So and people couldn't see it because we're the third most populated country in the world. So again, the police killing 1,000 people or like 1,100 people every year, it doesn't seem as big. But you add it up for over a 10-year average, that's 11,000
That's
people.
a lot of people. It's an issue.
Yeah.
It's an issue. That
11,000 families affected.
right. I had done
You
had to
know,
bury somebody. Yeah.
and that's
And
just
that,
death. but that's not even like the main issue. Most of these encounters don't end in death. Most of it's just like harassment. Most of it's civil forfeiture. Most of it is just police flexing power on people because they can.
Right.
And that
Yeah,
climate of fear
it is.
that
It
is
creates
just,
a fear. And then they got the nerve to complain when we don't want to be around them or when I don't, yeah, maybe I do. I kind of do feel like running when I see you, I don't, shit.
yeah. It's
You
it's
created
it's
that.
it's really really unfortunate.
Oh, she
The
made it back. Yeah. Brown girl on the bus is back.
Yeah. What's going on, brown girl? But the thing that I find the most unfortunate about that is the fact that we pay for that. And
Yes.
and that's the part
I'm sorry.
that bothers me the most. We pay for our own oppression.
We do. We do. They take money out of my bank account every month. I pay my taxes. They don't discriminate with my taxes. Can I
No.
pay less taxes because I'm black? you know, can I get a break on that?
Yeah. What's
No.
going on, brown girl? What's going on?
I'm sorry, I'm back. I'm trying to work some things out over here, honey.
Listen. We cannot be using our dogs as freaking phone chargers, all right? We can't be using that.
Look,
I can see
I
you rubbing your freaking Pomeranian like upside down on like
run.
the freaking wool,
Get on the
freaking
wheel.
putting the charger.
Look, don't give me no ideas that I have a hamster, a big old
Gas
hamster
prices,
wheel for
shit,
honey.
energy
Y'all
costs.
gotta put some work in.
Shit.
Everything in here make money.
I got a cat over here. I'm about to rub her on some freaking wool. Get that charger, baby. Get that wool charger popping, baby. I got me a new invention. I'm about to trademark it right now. Copyright that right now. But
Telling
anyways,
you, y'all make it happen.
tell me, how much do you guys think reparations should be? And I'll be right back. I'm gonna actually let my lovely lady here speak a little bit. I
Okay.
know she's not black
How
like us,
much?
but she's only here to stand in. So
Oh,
tell me, how much do you think we deserve?
oh my father.
Hmm. I hadn't really put a number on
That's
it.
something.
I really haven't.
That's something to think about, though.
Right. Right. I can't
I
put a
do
number
know
on
that
it. I
they
would
can
have
give
to.
you
I
if they can
think
give Ukraine 13 billion, then they got enough to give us.
what we would need to do is kind of just do the math and figure out the value of the labor that was lost
Mm.
and spread that. And I agree with love is love is that it would probably be in the trillions, but we do seem to be able to find trillion. Oh, it would be 640 billion. Okay, we do seem to find that money when we need it, don't we? The way we dealt with
Yeah.
COVID, we
Yeah.
found it. We found
Oh
it,
yeah.
and and here's the thing that will be. I mean, all of us included, as black folks, we all we all benefit from the America that was built by slavery, right? And that would be coming from our tax dollars as well. We pay those same taxes. So, I mean, basically, America just basically owes a debt to the descendants of slaves. And it must be paid. It must be paid. I 100% agree with that. And apparently, and it's definitely been calculated. And Janonymous is saying it's 640 billion. So I agree with that. I agree with it.
I would think that we also have to take in consideration the generational oppression, the generational scars.
Trauma.
Like when you think about you go to court, you can not only sue for the crime, you sue for the
Mhm.
damage.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Yeah.
Right.
know,
Pain and
Yeah.
suffering.
the pain is thank you, sis. The pain and suffering
Yep.
of the people. Part of
Yep.
that pain and suffering is the 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 modern day slavery of black men in prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
We
friend
were
put
we
a
were
post
talking
up
about
that
that.
his uncle was in jail for 32 years
Oh my
and they
God.
just now found him guilty. And the man died 2 years after being out of prison.
Uh.
Mm,
Think of the
mm,
contribution that he could have had on his family, on society for that false imprisonment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So how much is that worth? And there's
So
stories like that in everybody's family that I know, that at least that I know, you know, of people who have been falsely accused that may still be in prison, not including the deaths of Black lives by police officers.
So
Right.
that's exactly what I was just about to ask, Brown Girl. Are we going? So are we including then Jim Crow and then the war on drugs and racism in general, lynching and stuff like that, in addition
Yeah, because the
to
foundation built the building.
okay, gotcha,
The
gotcha.
foundation built
Mm,
the building.
okay.
I agree with that. I mean, it's all connected, you know?
It is.
Right, right,
It's all
right.
connected, so you have to follow the paths of evil and, malfeasance and corruption. And
Hmm.
We can go back to simple science. There is a cause
hmm
and reaction.
hmm
With every with every action, there is a reaction.
right.
So everything that it affects in the path that it's rolled through our history of America needs to be addressed
Yeah,
in some way, shape, or form.
agreed. I think we would be so much better for it.
Oh, I just dream of a day of healing.
Yeah.
I think about when I can't remember what country it is. I will go look it up if I had to, because bro will make me. He'd be like, "Where's your facts at, sis?" I'll be like, "Okay, let me go find the facts." But I'm gonna tell the story on top of my head first. And then if I had to go look it up, I'm gonna go look it up. But I remember this because it was a movie, and I can't remember what country, but it might have been South Africa. But it was it was a country in Africa, and they were talking about the atrocities that had been done to the black people in the area. And it was basically they massacred them. They just killed all the people just randomly. The colonizers that colonized the area, and they actually had a case. It was a case, and I will go look it up because now I'm intrigued. Where they sat in court and made the people tell exactly what happened to their loved ones that was snatched in the middle of the night, murdered, put in prison, tortured for whatever. And those people sat in court in every single case they spoke
Mm.
about in court. And they
Mm,
did that to
hmm.
help the country heal.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I murdered your son. I did it on this day, and this is how I murdered him. And those people
Wow.
admitted to their crimes, and and that was a beginning of healing.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the atrocities that they had done. They knew, they knew what was going on. It was about admitting you're wrong and saying, we
Yeah.
did this and we were
But
wrong. I
see,
had
I
Taking
think that
orders to
responsibility and
massacre your
yeah.
village, and I was told if I did not do it, that I would be court-martialed and this, that, the other. Like the police officers, the authorities came and sat in court and admitted everything that they were ordered to do by the
Wow.
government.
but
Wow.
I just
Oh,
don't see the people in America that are in the wrong doing that. I can't see that happening. I'm just being honest.
I
I don't.
know, no, I'm saying, but
I
that's
Oh,
what it
okay.
would
agree.
take to heal. That would be
I
a
agree
start
with you.
to healing.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but I agree that America as a collective isn't ready for that. And I think it's
Mm-mm.
because the collective emotional IQ is probably not quite there yet. Um, are you guys familiar with the 12 steps, like 12-step programs?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm not familiar with actual steps, but
well, one of the steps is making amends. And
oh,
Amends.
okay. Uh-huh.
mhm, and to
Uh-huh.
make amends is you know, you approach the people, you contact the people that you've wronged, only if in doing so you wouldn't further, harm them. And you own what you did, you take responsibility, and you try to make it right, like amend, like fixing the past, I mean, and
Hmm.
sometimes you can't do that. So then sometimes you do like a living amends, like to your parents or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like America I've been saying this for a long time. I feel like if America were an addict, okay, America is
Sure.
codependent as hell. Okay,
Yeah,
Right.
it is
codependent, trying
addict.
to help everyone else in the world while she's not taking care of her own self,
Herself.
right?
Right,
Right?
right.
And then she doesn't want to, you know, take responsibility for her own stuff, and that's, and doesn't even want to admit she has a problem. And it's like,
She has a
And
debt.
sugarcoat it by helping everybody else
yeah,
on the outside
yeah,
to make them
yeah,
feel better. It makes them
yeah,
feel better
which
to
is
do things for others.
distracting, from the fact that we're not handling our own stuff and taking care of our own
Right.
people.
Got
And
roaches running around your house and you try to.
that's not to say screw other people in other countries. That's
No,
just
I'm not
Right.
saying that.
we
Right,
have people here who need to be, who need help.
right.
Right.
So,
Well, who
I
you
don't
owe
know.
a debt to? Who she owes a debt to? America owes a debt to us,
Us,
Yep,
and she needs to
absolutely.
pay it.
Mm-hmm.
She really does. She's,
you know,
created a situation where we start off. Our race is longer. I'm not even familiar with the presidential speech. Formally apologize. Bill Clinton did at one point in time, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken, Father Vader. But okay. I mean, thanks for the apology. That didn't do me no good. But yeah,
yeah.
no, America owes a debt. It's an addict that owes a debt and it needs to be paid for.
America needs
Um,
to
right.
make amends.
and you in
And
debt.
lots of amends are financial.
Uh-huh.
You out here paying everybody else, man, and we sitting there, like, hey, why you paying everybody else? Why
Right.
can't you pay me? Um,
Exactly.
Don't act like my $20 is not good. You owe
right?
me
Yeah.
$20.
Yeah.
You don't stop running from me for my $20. I'm gonna get you.
Well, and we got what? That's the thing is we gonna have to figure out a way to get them. I think, and because they
Yeah.
ain't gonna just do it. They ain't gonna just do
Right.
it because it's right. They ain't gonna do it because
Right.
it's the right thing to do. They're gonna do it because they have to.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like that crackhead. That crackhead
It's
ain't
gonna
gonna
be
pay
a
you because they right.
downfall.
Right.
And that leads into why they keep us separated, why
Yeah.
they don't allow us to unite, why they, keep the control in the manner that they do, because they know if black people actually did get together, because we already proved it in history that
Mm-hmm.
we're able with Black Wall Street and having our own with segregation. Segregation wasn't for us. Segregation was for them to capitalize on, to break up our black communities and
Yeah.
tribes, like bro was talking about, to get our money to keep control of us.
Yeah.
And as
Divide
Mhm.
long
and
as we are
conquer.
separated in that manner and not allowed to own our own people in the country that we help build, then we're never going to get in a position of power to be able to stand up to the system that has kept us oppressed all this time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why they do it. Because they
Yep.
I
know
mean,
they
it's a
saw
good
it happening
strategy, right?
and
It
literally
works.
massacred those people.
Yeah. I mean,
Put
they're
towns under rivers
man.
in Georgia. Whole city
That's why.
underwater is a lake.
And like folks
Whole
say, we
city.
ain't we don't have planes and boats yet. Our neighborhoods are filled with drugs and guns. How is that? How does
How
that
does
work?
that? How does that work?
Where's that
Right.
and alcohol and stuff. I mean,
And
yeah. I mean,
churches.
there's
And
a reason.
churches.
Right. Right. Yeah. No. Let's keep it real. Oh, you went there, and you
Organized
right. You
religion.
right. You right. You right.
Every
Because that's
corner.
splitting us up too. That's splitting us up too.
Okay,
That's a
now,
splitting us up
real
too.
talk.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a follow. Let me follow. You keep it real. You keep it really real. Okay. All right. Let me get off this app because I need to get my butt to bed. But yeah. I'm glad I came across that. Oh, I'll recap too. All right. Y'all have a good night. I'm glad we got to talk tonight.
You too.
I'll be
Good
good.
talking to you.
Brown girl on the bus. I really like you. I've heard you on other live streams before, and I'm a fan. So I just wanted to say hi.
Oh, I love you. Oh, stop it. I'm a regular goofy girl. I might be a
Yeah.
mad scientist.
I love it. Like Pinky in the Brain.
It's like picking the brain over here. That's exactly how
Love
it
it.
feels sometimes.
What are we gonna do, Pinky? What are we gonna do?
Right.
Everything
Take
we
over
always
the
do.
world.
Yep. Oh man. Yeah.
This funny story. I actually said that to. I just started going back to school for my degree in business, and she said, "What is your plan with this?" My admissions coordinator. She's like, "What's your plan with getting this degree?" I said, "Well, I just got fired from my job,
Mm.
and I figured this would be a perfect time to go back to school." And she said,
Yep.
"What do you want to do with it?" I said, "Oh, I plan on going back and taking over." She's like,
That's great. I love it.
"That's
That's the best revenge, right?
yeah." I'm like, "I plan on going back and being the HR department that just
Yep.
fired me,
Yep.
and I'm
Yep.
going to be head of it."
Yep. Yep.
And actually,
Or go back and be the COO or the CFO and
hey, I'm
make
going to be
them
running
all.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Make them all eat crow.
Exactly.
Oh, love it.
Exactly. And that's
Love it.
motivation in life. Like, if it's something I don't like, I have to go conquer it.
Yeah.
Because quite often we feel defeated by the things that happen to us in life, and versus stepping towards it and attempting to conquer it or understand how the system works so that you can learn how to manipulate around it, we run from it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's part of what we deal with now in our country as well. We're taught
Yeah.
to run from things that's unknown to us, or that's not familiar, or
Right.
that is not comfortable. We're
Yep.
so
Or
we
difficult
are
conflict.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're
Mm-hmm.
soft generation, not generation. We are the softest of softy countries in the whole entire world.
Yeah. Yeah. We're
So
we're like we're like the addict or the alcoholic, just completely fragile, just hanging
fragile.
on by a thread.
We are hanging on by threads. We think that we are the great, but that great country is a smokescreen.
Yeah.
We are 1 second of one. I'm not gonna say 1 second away. We are literally the most modernized third world country.
I
I
agree.
said,
I agree. I agree. And I lived in Morocco for a year and a half, and I like living there better than I like it here. I'm gonna say it. It was better.
I'm
It
just
was better.
saying. I'm trying to think.
Okay.
Iran,
Hey,
Iraq,
hey, brown girl.
yo,
Hey, brown girl on the bus. We gonna start another stream real quick, and I'm gonna
battery.
get on to another topic because we've kind of settled the whole reparations thing. But what do you think the next topic should be for next stream? What do you want the next topic to be?
I don't know. Don't ask me, bro. All over the
Let's see.
place.
Uh, how about uh, how about we go for
um,
relationship issues?
hey, I can talk about that. You can make
Okay,
me
let's
put my
do it.
battery charger.
So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here, and
Friends.
I'm gonna start up a brand new one.
All right. I'm gonna get the
All
dog
right,
to get on the wheel.
cool. All right, guys. I'll see you guys later. Um, and I'm gonna start another stream about relationships. Cool.